Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be taking a look at both of my KSR amps, the KSR Orthos Mark II and the KSR Artemis. We're going to do what I can to kind of compare them to the two and show you just some differences and similarities between them, and just show you what you're getting when you pay the extra money to get an Artemis. So this is my first time really showing the Artemis on this channel. And I just want to say that it has absolutely blown me away. Y'all know I love the Orthos as well, but the Artemis is on a whole different level. A lot of companies nowadays are like putting their efforts towards adding a whole bunch of different features to the amps in terms of just giving you different ways to hook it up and use IRs, load IRs, all that sort of stuff, which is nice. For some people, that's really great. But for me, I already have IR loaders and all that sort of stuff. I have all the routing options that I need. The Artemis, to me, I can't think of an amp that has this much stuff built into it in terms of just the tonal palette. It has a ridiculous amount of tonal shaping options, and to me, that's where I wanted my money to go in the first place. And luckily for me, happily, that I think that it worked out. If anybody knows of any amp that they think can has this much tonal flexibility in a high gain context, let me know, because I want to know. Right now, I'm thinking the Artemis is it. But anyway, we're not going to touch the clean channels, but both of these amps have really great clean channels. The Artemis has a little bit more flexibility to it in terms of its clean channel, obviously, but both are super good and very flexible just in terms of a high gain amp. So we're using the KHE amp switcher to switch between these. Right now we're on the Orthos, which is here on light number 3. Number 4 is the Artemis. These amps are running into my Mission 2x12 cab, which is mic'd by SM58 and an SM57. And I'm playing my Schecter Hellraiser Hybrid C8 with bare knuckle aftermath set in it. Alright, now just talk about the layout of these amps. So the Orthos is technically just it's a 2-channel amp, but it also has switchable master volumes. So that's what it's talking about when it says gain 1 and gain 2. So on master 1, we're talking gain 1. Master 2, we're talking gain 2. But this amp is closer to like a 3-channel amp because on the lead channel, Master 1 also has this crunch control. So when you turn it on in the up position, you have a crunch sound. And you can turn it off to just get the straight ahead lead channel. You see, you have a little bit less gain when you're in the crunch mode, as you would expect. And it also has 2 field controls, one for each gain 1 and gain 2. So the lower that this number is, the tighter the sound is, and as you increase it, the sound gets chunkier and less tight. But still really tight regardless, because it's a KSR and they're tight. And then you also have bright controls here too. I generally leave the bright controls on, particularly in a situation like this where we're not using any overdrives for this video. That said, the bright control is like very powerful, so like there are definitely some other tones within the amp that can be found between switching the bright control on and off. I think that covers. Oh, so yeah, when we get there, we switch to master volume. All right. Well, no. First of all, let me demonstrate to you what. So we're just gonna leave lead channel gain 1 in the crunch mode. Let me demonstrate why. Because basically, gain 1 and gain 2 sound exactly the same when gain 1 is not in its crunch mode. Maybe not exactly the same, but it's like 90 to 95% the same thing. So let me switch between those to show you that. Both of them on field 2. Here's master 1. Master 2. Like I said, there may be a slight difference there, but if so, it's very, very minute. So, which is why we're going to leave Master 1, Gain 1 in its crunch mode. So the way I'm going to attempt to tackle this is that we're going to dial in gain 1 in its crunch mode on the Orthos, followed by gain 2, and both times we're going to match that tone on the Artemis. Then we're going to flip-flop, and I'm going to dial in tones on the Artemis and try and match them on the Orthos. And you'll see that the Artemis can easily match the tones of the Orthos, and the Orthos can't exactly keep up with everything that the Artemis can do without like an overdrive pedal or an EQ pedal or something, which is kind of my point here. But yeah, I think that generally covers it. We'll go a little bit deeper into the Artemis when I start dialing in the Artemis first. So alright, here we go. Alright, so I want to dial in a nice crunchy 8-string sound using the crunch channel on the Orthos. I think that's very impressive. That's no overdrive used there. I typically need an overdrive to kind of shape 8-string tones I really like. But that said, let's jump over to the Artemis. Like I said, I'm not gonna dive too deep into what's happening here on the Artemis. I'm just gonna do my best to match the tone of the Orthos. I kind of know where it's at already. It's gonna be in here on lead channel 2. So lead channel 2 has, it's like 2 channels in 1 on lead 2 here. And this is where I find that I can get crunch tones like matching the Orthos here. So again, here's the Orthos. Artemis. The Orthos is a little bit chunkier. Let's go ahead and try and turn on the fat mode. Orthos is also a little bit more saturated. I find the Orthos sounds a little bit tighter. Which is a good thing to me. I'm thinking the Artemis sounds a little bit better here, but I'm still trying to find how I can get that sound out of the Artemis. So let me see. I think there we go. I think that's very close right there. And just real quick, so let me demonstrate that. If I cut the feel controls, make it a little bit tighter on the Orthos. I find that's like about right here. Yep, that would fool my ears. I wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Back up to the Orthos. Now we're going to go over to gain 2 on the Orthos. Nice and tight with no overdrive. But all right, let's try and find that on the Artemis. Let's jump back up to lead 1 for this. So right from the jump, the Artemis is sounding a little bit tighter there. Let's increase the gain on the Artemis. think that might be it. Take it back. I think that might be it. I think that's closer there. Yeah, for sure. Alright, there we go. So, in terms of dialing in tones from the Orthos, from there, what you really have is the ability to kind of play around with field controls and turn on or off the bright modes. But in this situation, playing an 8-string with no overdrive, the bright modes are going to stay on for me. I would probably keep feel between 1 and 3. But yeah, there are for sure more tones to be had outside of the Orthos. But we cannot cover everything in one video. So, in the interest of time, let's go ahead and jump over to the Artemis and dial in some tones there. Alright, so let's talk about the Artemis's controls just a little bit and what the Artemis is. Like I said, it's a 3-channel amp. Clean channel here, and it's lead 1 and lead 2. But as you saw a little earlier, so lead 1 is just lead 1, although you have a mode control, which is very powerful, and then a fat control, which is similar to the field control up here, and there's also a voice control, which can add, it kind of sculpts closer to some, it adds some higher mids to the, it makes it sound a little bit more higher mid leaning. Nope, I think I got it backwards. I think, wait, no, hold on. Yeah, no, I think I'm right. So, on one of these channels, voice adds higher mids, and on one of them it adds lower mids. I'm pretty sure it adds higher mids on channel 1. My ears are getting tired. But anyway, yeah, it has that, and of course it has the bright switch there too. Lead 2, on the other hand, it is very similar at first. It has all the same things here, but like I said, there's that little difference in the voice control. Yeah, I can hear it there. Maybe it's easier to hear with the bright mode on. On lead 2, for sure, the voice adds, it shifts the mid over to a lower mid range. But yeah, all that stuff is exactly as I just said otherwise. But what's interesting about lead 2 is that it also has additional mode here, which I'm pretty sure are crunch modes of some kind. Don't quote me, I'm not sure, I'm still learning this amp. But yeah, this is the standard mode of lead 2. And this let's call it this crunch mode, this crunch channel here also has a different mode in it as well. I think that this is what people are calling the wood mod. I don't know what that is. I just dial in with my ears. That's just who I am. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Not really an 8-string thing. I'd probably use that for some leads. It's definitely a cool tone. But that said, let's go to where I've been spending the majority of my time with on this amp, which is here in standard lead channel. And we go to mode 1. Well, let me show you what happens when you make that jump first of all. Oh, and then also here the fat control has three or four positions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 position fat control. Each one making the sound a little bit fatter as you go. Accident. Right here. So this has been my bread and butter. This has been the money for me. Like it's obviously a more saturated sound when you jump to it. Let me jump through the modes real quick just so we can kind of briefly hear what they do. It definitely sounds like each time I switch through mode, like every time I increase the mode, we're getting more saturation to my ears. But second mode position right here is the one that typically really jumps out to me. Once we get here, I start thinking about leads, but some people would probably do like a drop tuned metal, like maybe go for like the super thick, like Disturbed style tones and all that type of stuff. But for me, I start thinking leads when I'm over here. But yeah, let's start here and dial in. That sounds like a boosted amp to me for a great rhythm tone. This is basically my rhythm tone on the Artemis. This is where I go. So then I'll use the EQ to dial in based off which guitar that I'm using. Let's try and get the Orthos to match that. Definitely needs to be a little bit tighter, but oh, look at that. It's already in its tightest feel position, and bright is already on. Artemis it's tighter and more saturated to my ears. So I felt like I needed to increase either the treble or the top control to match the brightness that we're getting out of the Artemis right now. But the treble didn't quite do it. There's still a certain degree of cut that this tone in the Artemis just has. So at this point, I feel like I'm trying to EQ the Orthos into a tone that is just not, it's just not there on the amp by itself. I think that this may be to do with some of the Artemis's additional gain stages. Maybe. I'm not a technical guy. I just dial in using my ears, and I don't think that it's possible to really get the Orthos to where the Artemis is sitting right here. Although the sound I got on the Orthos here with this fairly extreme EQ setting still sounds good. Alright, let's find one more tone on the Artemis and go from there. I think we accidentally just landed on two very similar tones. I think that where we had just left the Orthos off at is fairly close to what I just dialed in on the Artemis. I eat too much gain. But yeah, so like I said, that's just scratching the surface of what the Artemis can do. I think it was a pretty good indication of what the Orthos can do. But that said, please look forward to my actual Artemis demo, which is coming up shortly. I'll be collaborating with someone who I met through the Artemis. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything else you'd like to see from me, please let me know. And please make sure that you have subscribed to the channel and entered my giveaway for the KSR series, if you haven't. But yeah, you guys take care.